But we do keep it very directed towards psychology because that's the aim, that's the
Yes.
purpose.
Yeah.
And if you're meeting here for 1 hour or 45 minutes, then our aim, me and Gurleen, is always to get something out of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
we always aim at getting some actions out of our
Right.
discussion and our
Right.
topic. So today's topic, I'm just going to quickly introduce it. But before that, welcome to everyone who's new, who's always been here. And you all know that the format is that we introduce the topic and then we have a sort of healthy discussion going on. I will aim today to exactly end the session at 45 minutes. So that's 40 minutes or 39 minutes from now,
Okay.
because everybody has days to get to and families to get to. So we'll absolutely aim for that. And at the last, do use the chat as well if you have more sort of thoughts and comments, and you can pop it in there while we have a discussion going on.
Sure.
Cool. So in terms of the topic, and something that Gurleen and I both thought would suit really well right now is today's topic on the new super skill. Um, and it's not necessarily new because this is something that we have always spoken about, which is understanding human behavior. So something very, very basic, very building block foundational for psychologists, or more of the social sciences role. So the first chapter of psychology for any psychologist is understanding human behavior. Human behavior is subjective. There is no one size fit all, and that almost becomes the basis of your training as a psychologist, as a psychiatrist. Right? Some other professions that I can think of who have this skill as common is counselors, therapists, trainers, coaches. So again, any people oriented role, hospitality sector. So this becomes a part of our training. And then while having a discussion with Gurleen, she made a very fair point that this is not just a skill that we need in the hospitality or the psychology field anymore. Perhaps this is something that all professions require, whether it's engineering, some hard sciences, oncology, or even like architects, middle managers, different sort of fields, lawyers, for example. I know they don't talk about human behavior at all. So just thinking today about why this is a new super skill, because now all the professions require this skill and all of them are looking to develop it. And while some of us are ahead in the race, like psychologists who have always had this skill or tried to learn this, some professions need a little bit of help. Maybe they don't accept it yet, but perhaps they do. So today's discussion is more around what is a requirement. Some of you might say, well, actually, this skill, it's not a super skill and they don't need it. So bring your sort of perspective forward as well. Or we might think, okay, this is a super skill. How do we help other professions develop it? Where is the next direction? And how can we learn together? So the aim today or the actions that we want to get out of today is how do we help people from the non-psychology background or more hard sciences background to learn and adapt this skill. Any initial thoughts from anyone? And before we jump into the floor, keep your points succinct, keep your points short but impactful so that everybody gets a chance. Okay. Any first thoughts?
Can I start off?
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, very good evening. Atif this side. I'm a human resource professional. Just completed like 11 years of service into HR. And I always believe there is a strong intersection when it comes to psychology and human resource. And thanks to Chaitanya, through him only I connected to this platform. I was actually pursuing a course of competencies. So just completed the course, so it's possible now that I could join it. Now, my initial thoughts, while I was pursuing the course on competencies also, whenever people rise up in the organizational hierarchy, they have more reportees, they have more people to be managed. So when it's at the director level, assistant manager, deputy manager, as they go up in the organizational hierarchy, it's lesser about skills and it's more about competencies. It's more about managing, which actually takes place once you go up there in the organizational ladder. And that is why when it comes to organizational dynamics, managing people, all these forces come into play, whether you like it, whether you do not like it. There, your test as a leader, your leadership skill will encompass everything that we have been discussing: attitudes, perception, personality traits, and everything. So the hallmark of a true leader would be basically all these soft skills. If he is there, and then he is going to take the entire team forward. So basically, initial thoughts on this.
Yeah, good shouts, of course, leaders, and I think most of us experience that. Some of the most technically sound leaders that we know, or professionals that we know, do not rise up to those ranks because somebody else has that understanding, soft skill paradigm sorted, and they're just performing better. Any other perspectives on this topic?
I think adding on to
Yeah, Gurleen, go ahead. Gurleen.
I'm saying adding on to Atif's point, I think he made a lot of sense that leaders need to demonstrate, qualities which are, managing other people. So that is the new skill, I think. Back in the day, I think leaders' job was more to help people with the knowledge work. If somebody wanted to help, they would reach to their leader and ask for like knowledge related work. But now, from like, we are in Industry Revolution 4.0. And back in the day, I think we used to focus a little too much on number of hours spent or how much one is working, but now all of a sudden we have intellectual capital to take care of, and these are the people who are already knowledgeable. So if I, as a CEO or as a leader, if I'm hiring like 10 people, I would want them to have knowledge already. I'm not going to teach them anything, and they are knowledge workers. So now it's very important to deal with them like human beings and not like, just people in a shop floor, which used to happen back in the day during Industrial Revolution 1 and Industrial Revolution 2. So now I think this is the need of the hour. Human skills is need of the hour because most of the skills, most of the jobs are getting automated. So now agar kisi ne code bana ke rakh diya, and now that we have a software already, now leader's job is to manage people who are actually working. So I think it's really important. So these are the initial thoughts.
Just to add to Gurleen's point, I would like to say that technology and human they have to work in collaboration. While people are apprehensive that technology will take their jobs, it's not that technology will take the jobs of humans. It will create new jobs, but there has to be a clear collaboration between the human being and the technology. Also, my thoughts as far as human skills are concerned, I think it's having human skills is very essential in all aspects of life, not just in psychology or not just in HR, not just in human resources. It's a life skill, I feel. And also I feel that if having good soft skills in the context of being a nice human being is very important, because at the end of the day I feel every individual earns bread and butter, but what makes one individual distinct from the other is his humanistic approach. So I'll give you a live example of my mom. So my mom is a retired government servant. She retired in the month of March, and during her 20 years of service, numerous people have worked with her. But after 20 years of service, what she has earned is the goodwill. I mean, people who have worked with her and who have worked with others in the same organization, they always have, my mother commands a respect because of her humanistic approach towards things. So I think this having human approaches is very important. Another example. So one of my friends, she got a call from one of the big fours for an opportunity in HR just today, and while the concerned person who was speaking to her, she is at an associate director level. I mean, she was so rude. I understand that you have so many people to cater around, but just being polite does not cost anything. And then her whole day went for a toss. So yeah, so all in all, what I'm trying to say here is that just try to be more human in whatever way you can be.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump on that, Chaitanya. Yes, try to be more human. Leaders need to show those skills. Just gonna change the discussion and almost take it a step ahead. What are these skills? So we keep saying skills, skills, skills. Understand people. How about we list out what those skills are?
I
Well,
think being empathetic. I think being empathetic.
Okay, Samiksha.
yes. People skills have always been important, right? I'll just add to the points made before, and then I'll come to your question. Just one thing I would like to add that well, robotics and automation, they are replacing human jobs. This is a fact. However, what they are doing is they are replacing more technical jobs, hardcore skills. And I think this is why your soft skill skills are becoming more important, because that can make you a differentiator, right? Because if you are only good in hardcore skills, you're very easy to replace. And I think this is why it is more essential now that you focus on your soft skills as well, even if you are very good in your hardcore skills. It's just not enough to be only good in the technical part of your job. It's not enough anymore. Second thing is that also automation and post COVID effect or mid COVID effect. Even if we are working virtually, I think one thing which is interesting, and I thought that it would change, but it did not. Even if we are working differently at different locations, we are working in isolations in a way, people skills are still not getting replaced. We still need social skills, maybe more, because now there is like virtual communication, which has been added to the entire list of social skills that we needed before. Right. So I don't think that soft skills are anywhere to go, but given the trends, it's becoming more and more important. Now, when I say social skills, yes, I mean, ultimately it's the opposite of your technical skills. It can be your leadership skills, it can be how you manage your team, your communication, your presentation skills, your basically your
Storytelling.
emotional intelligence, how you connect with people, how you approach people, and how you manage your own emotions and negotiation. All of these things are your soft skill skills, which are, I guess, becoming more and more essential with time.
And any key skill that, so I think nice list, Samiksha, lots going on there. Any key skill that anybody else wants to add? And just top of my head, I'm going to add resilience. But Soumya?
Hi there.
Yeah,
My name is Soumya Dwivedi Parks, and I am an ardent follower of Gurleen Barua's work on LinkedIn, and I am joining you all from United States today. So I work in the space of I'm an L&D professional, and I work in the space of doing the run of the mill full stack whatever learning experience designing. However, my passion projects are always which revolve around global competence and cross-cultural communication. And I think in this discussion is very pertinent. And I think we must, all the points that have been mentioned are valid. And we should also mention we are living in a post-globalized economy now. And the projects are becoming more complex. And so we want people who can actually, and I think even the smartest, IBM and AI, Watson computer, they cannot identify the complexity. We're not there yet in the technology. Human brain is still in that manner, still superior to identify what goes where, how you work with a certain person. And you see that in managers and people managers who have had experience working with different cultures, different groups, different industries, that they exactly know what fits where. And that complexity, identification and what goes in where, and then making your processes and the whole workflow according to that is something that I think should be mentioned, because we can all go on LinkedIn Learning and learn how to do presentation. We can all go on LinkedIn Learning and do that whole active listening course, and we can do all of those things. However, active listening for an American client looks different from a Nigerian client, will look different from a Bangladeshi client. And so how do we walk that little tightrope is also noteworthy. So that's all I had to say.
Good
I'm
point.
enjoying this.
Good point, Soumya, and I really agree with that. So I work in the recruitment space, creating assessments for organizations, and there's a lot of fear here that automation is replacing jobs and hard skills and stuff like that. But actually, now is more need than ever to look at human intuition and human judgment and start evaluating that. And the key to listening to your intuition and your own judgment is self-worth, self-confidence, self-assurance, and that really comes from your skills or social skills or how you have developed, like Samiksha mentions. All those skills really play a key role in that. So I think it's a domino effect. One thing leads to the other, and from all the list that the big list that you gave, Soumya and Samiksha, sorry. I think we need to focus on key skills there and start thinking about what needs to come first. What are we trying to build in people? Um, Anuja, your hand is up. Did you want
Okay.
to? Yeah.
Thank you, Sakshi. So, just a minute. Yeah. Mm. Hi, this is Anuja. I had joined last time, but I couldn't switch on my camera at that time. But here I am. After speaking about and hearing to all the people that we are having discussion here, we spoke about empathy. You also said about resilience. Another thing that I feel is is like an integral part of people management is trust. Because now we can see it is proven that if the person is not sitting in front of you, they can get their work done. We all are working from home. So that trust a leader needs to have in their employees, in his team, in his or her team. And that is one important factor because the micromanaging part that keeps on going if there's no trust within the boss and his employee. And another thing that I really want to add here is like empathy, then resilience, then trust, and then kindness. Like it goes in line with empathy, but kindness, like we said, that we don't know what each and every person is going through in their personal life. Being kind is something that we can least do. So I think kindness, irrespective of what position you are in the company, what salary you draw, it's like a it's an attribute that everybody should have. So these are two qualities I feel leaders should have.
Good points. I have a long list of qualities that leaders should have now. And I was just thinking about, well, if they should all have it, why don't they have it? So what's stopping them from all these having all these skills? Any thoughts on that?
I think the gain wants to add. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm again. So I think what's stopping is basically everyone from possessing those qualities is basically courage, like don't not many people actually dare to do something out of their comfort zone, which usually limits them. And now that the entire life structure of everyone is so dependent on each other, like if you're going to get salary, we're going to get a house, and we're going to get our things. And so so with that perception in mind, people have stopped doing things differently. And so obviously, like if you're a boss and like have that ability of failing and experimenting over there, but in a corporate structure, I think that is always dependent, and like people are always on the edge. And so that's why we do not see any kind of innovation coming in there. We do not see any kind of empathy because people are always worrying more about themselves rather than the others. That often leads to basically trying to go for the path mostly used, and people just following that. So I think courage, innovation, design thinking, these also should be important part for a leader to basically do whatever he's doing. So I'll add that.
Can I pick your brains again? So how do you think innovation can help in development of those soft skills?
I'm working on my venture right now, so I'm restructuring everything how it used to be before. And right now, because of COVID and I've seen the power of online learning and working and so many other things. Though I'm a hard believer that offline things are far more real and it's far more worth. But I'm more of an old school guy, I would say that.
So I still prefer that. So creation can happen offline, and process and systems and operations can happen online, if that's there. So right now I'm using innovation in terms of as I'm learning and educating myself on the way from last a year or so, and I'm taking different things from different places and I'm using juxtaposition, and I'm trying to create more simpler processes. Basically, this is adding to what Soumya had just said. Okay, we have to actually envision, like, how exactly we could make it an efficient system and a process and map things accordingly. So that kind of innovation is what I'm trying to get in my venture.
And then, so you talked about systems and processes and efficiency, but
Yeah.
how is translating to soft skills?
So having, I will add to what Gurleen had said before. So having a leader, usually people go reach out to a leader to have information. Like usually it's people who do the work. So right now you can automate the entire information where people can access it whenever they need it, and that's how basically they can train their soft skill. Obviously, and if they can reach out to the leader only for one particular thing, then that the involvement of leader can minimize to a far extent.
Okay, so can we say that you're making soft skill resources more accessible?
Absolutely, yeah. Good way to
Correct.
yeah.
That makes sense. And I like how you said, because a lot of people, so when you want to give out a message or you want to change things, and I'm sure everybody knows that here, you have to come to the same communication platform as your audience, right? So that's why I think when you said efficiency and processes, I really like that, because these people still understand efficiency, processes, and numbers. But how do we use that to improve soft skills is the game.
Absolutely. So information accessibility is such it's crazy nowadays. Like, I'm using some digital tools like Notion and Discord, and like, if you build your entire structure on the basis of transparency and accessibility, and also have a culture where people should not fear to reach out to the leaders in the organization and have those queries solved. And if they are, the faster those queries are solved, faster the entire company, gets into action. So I think we can use technology in some ways, we can use empathy in some ways, and soft skills obviously can be trained through such things. So if the entire pipeline is free flowing, I'm as a leader, I may need to only answer 2 or 3 questions compared to before, like, I had to put myself into the entire framework right from start to end.
Okay, good points. Swarali, your hand has been up for a while. What's your comment?
Yes. So I was thinking that when you said like what keeps the leaders from having these skills. So, as the human behavior is that we learn through imitation and not through knowledge. Like we learn more through imitation. So do we already have existing leaders with the skills? And are they actually recognized in front of the others and appreciated for the skills they have so that the others can follow them?
Okay.
So, like, I think we need to have that eye for recognition and then appreciation of the people, so that we know that what is it that everyone has to look up to. If we just have the numbers but we don't know how to use them, how to play with them, what good are they? It's equal to not having them.
Interesting. So I guess you're meaning change the success metrics. So not just technical leaders or how much innovation they brought, but also what soft skills they showed,
Exactly.
and what values they held. Okay.
Right.
I think just to add to one point here, which just while I was listening to the conversation, it just struck me. I think why soft skills, another reason why leaders are not developing, or for that matter, I'll not talk about leaders, but as individuals, I think it's the context, like the society where which we are living in. If I talk in the context of India as a society or as a country, we have the chalta attitude. Okay, arey chalta hai. And we have been taught, right from the childhood, that as as someone who's like elder to you, as a youngster or someone, you don't have the authority to question them. We are like made to think like, I'm sorry to use that term, like a dumb driven cattle. I'm sorry to use that term, but we are always made to think like that. We are not taught to question things. We are not, and like for example, like if you're working in a corporate setup, so if you want to speak up for yourself, you will have, अरे manager है, क्यों manager से पंगे ले रहा है? Why you want to speak? And so that is what is preventing, you. So I had that apprehension initially when, I was I started my career with EY, but over a period of time, what I've learned is you have to speak up for yourself. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is just speak up for yourself, and be prepared for the worst. Worst, what will happen is you will be thrown out of the job. That's the worst that can be done. So I think it's a lot to do with the atmosphere and the society which we are part of.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring in. Can I?
Super quick. Just on Chaitanya's point, if you next time feel at loss of words for idioms on Indian society, say something other than that one. Definitely, we have enough Asian hate going on in the world. Atif, back to you.
Yeah. Not having courage is a very valid point made. I also wanted to bring a different perspective altogether. It's about having low level of mindfulness. I believe the mindfulness level of people, they become too process oriented, too target oriented, goal driven oriented, at the cost of the other soft skills. So I believe, for example, there are hundreds of biases which run into the system. There is something called recency bias. There's something called regionalism bias. There's something called different forms of biases, and we are really not mindful, and we get into judgments, and we come into inferences. So basically, people at positions of leadership should be mindful about how they are behaving, why they are behaving, how they are reacting, how they are becoming judgmental. How can we trace back the origins of those judgments because of those biases coming into play? And that is why that is basically blinding them of showing empathy and coming and taking the team along. So that is a serious paralysis I see because of existence of very much of bias, consciously or unconsciously.
Good points there. Biases is an obvious important one. Kulin, you're saying creativity and critical thinking. So I think good list of what's going wrong and what we need, and you might see in the chat that I started a list of what can help. So what can help? How can we? And I'm gonna say not everybody's job is to train a trainer or train a leader, and I'm sure everybody here is employed in sort of different services. But what we are talking about or how we are trying to help and take accountability is look at one person who does not have the same profession, perhaps does not have understanding of human behavior, and how you can help them learn or get that understanding. I know, Samiksha, you have a point to make. Just gonna complete what I'm trying to say. So like I said, it's not about that you're not a trainer, not a coach, and this is not your job, but thinking about people who perhaps don't have these skills today and are going to need this tomorrow, and what accountability can you take to help people get there or understand that skill. Samiksha, go.
Thank you. So when it comes to soft skills, yes, of course, there are skills which are missing, right? And the way we can help them is, or maybe they can also help themselves, is to know the reason behind those skills, behind the skills which is not there, or maybe they are not able to exhibit those skills. Sometimes the answer is very obvious, maybe you like Digen said, the courage is not there, the environment is not there, the atmosphere is not supportive, the resources are not there. But sometimes the reason lies the reason is underneath you. Maybe a person is very good in communication, but his anxiety stops him to communicate, right? Maybe the person is not a bad person at heart, right? He can be good relationships, but he's not able to empathize with others, right? And the reason could be your childhood trauma, or something else. So I think, even if you think that your people skills are not there, and maybe we can say that it's a skill that you can easily get trained in, and many people do, but it's also beneficial for a person to think, is there any other reasons behind behind the fact that I'm not able to exhibit those skills. So I think it's also important to go underneath if you can. Otherwise, of course, there are professionals, there are counselors, psychologists who are there to help you out with these issues. But I think it's also important for one person to see it through these angles.
Yeah, I like that. So just taking a course isn't enough. Invite them. Soumya,
I think I can add, I think growth mindset, I think need of the hour, because we are evolving. As we are speaking, we are evolving. Somebody is probably creating an algorithm. So I think, along with whatever we have discussed so far, I think one is never stop learning. So you constantly upgrade yourself, because if you don't upgrade yourself, you are going to be obsolete. And like Samiksha said, it's very important to know that why are you building these skills. So I think it is very important to actually understand that to stay relevant in the future, this is the necessity. अगर यही नहीं करोगे तो then you will be on the left side of the curve, and then you will be obsolete, then you will fall in the middle income, and slowly and gradually that job is also going to get automated. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you have to upgrade yourself. So never stop learning. Second would be, like I said, creativity and critical thinking. These are the very, very important skills now in each and every profession. And creativity does not only mean like being a good designer or create like beautiful art, but creativity is more about problem solving. So thinking of different, unique, innovative ways of solving problems. And critical thinking equally important, I think, more than empathy. So I think empathy also has a lot of disadvantages. For example, I think it's very easy to empathize with people who are probably similar to us, right? It's difficult to empathize with people who are different. So I think empathy sometimes is not a very good skill. You need to have like a good sense of judgment, good critical thinking, so that you know where are you empathizing. So you have to empathize. You don't necessarily have to agree with somebody else's point of view, but you have to understand where that person is coming from and then take a call. So your judgment has to be clear. And the third skill, I think, self-management. So under self-management also, I think one is self-awareness. You need to understand your purpose. What do you want? And second is, I think, self-regulation and being a little organized and conscientious about how are you going to achieve those goals. So that is really important. So habit formation, looping habits, making it a habit, making excellence a habit. So that is important. And then, of course, social intelligence, emotional intelligence, very, very important in each and every role, even for engineers. So I think these are 4 or 5 skills that everybody should work on.
There you go. There's your
Hello.
list.
Hello. Can I add something? Yeah, Monica. Yeah, actually, right now, so many people have already talked about so many skills and so many technologies and added up so many terms. But here I'm just giving you a scenario. What happened 2 months ago? I was just completely lost when I started something. I was not having anyone in my life so that who can mentor me again to give me direction. And then suddenly I feel grateful. I met Digin sir, and he completely understands me. He empathizes with me, and he connects me and give me a direction. Right now, in 2 months, what I have changed in my life is I'm completely seeing myself in a different tangent now, right? Because I'm now growing, I'm learning every day, and I'm making my self-reflection better and better every day. Now, what happened 2 weeks ago when I found someone is hiring, like looking for Make My Trip company was looking for some employees to get hired. So I just put a job post, like I felt from myself, because I have seen the 7 million people in India are currently jobless. It totally like broken my heart, right? Because 2 months ago I was feeling the same. I was feeling through the pain, and now I was feeling I'm just I don't know what we can call it now. But when I saw that news, it strokes my mind, and I just posted it up, and within 3 days I got more than 78 applicants who are looking for that role, right? And I personally talked with everyone, understand their roles and responsibilities, and on the basis of them I selected some people. I like out of 78 I selected 48 58, so that I should feel ki I should take some quality profiles to provide to the recruiter ahead. Okay, when I gave those profiles, and I found only 10 people got selected out there. It again strokes my mind. My mind was totally like, I feel so sad. And then again connected, I told them, recruiter, what we can do now? Because I don't want a single person to be left behind to be jobless. Why anyone could leave behind the race of employment, right? Everyone needs, it's everyone's right, right? but we should look upon, it's not a person who is losing or who is getting failure. It's a situation or some lagging of less knowledge of skills and trainings or something. Mentorship, he's not getting a good mentorship. Okay, so if a 10, I started taking an initiative. If you check out my LinkedIn profile as well, I posted a one article over there. If 10 million people in this world helps at least one person to get hired or refer one person, 10 million people will get employment in a single day. Now you can imagine how many people, and I also trying to find to get in connect with them a good mentorship where they can grow their selves, right? So it's really important to give Digant sir was there to give wings to myself. Now I want to be there to millions of people to give wings to themselves, maybe by other people as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, appreciate that. Obviously, there was somebody for you, and we are all coming from the same background here of trying to help someone, and that's why I say at the end of this, we do take accountability of what is it that we're going to change or do. So appreciate that the time is coming to an end. Any last points? I see a lot of hands up. Don't know if you have points to add or it's just from before. But I think the last point, and keep it super succinct, but what is it that you can change to get the leaders there or get your fellow professionals there?
I think 9 to 5 matters, but again, what you do from 5 to 9 matters as much as 9 to 5. So as leaders or as fellow colleagues, if we push our teammates or fellow mates to have that work-life balance, we can help them develop their other skills, which is going to aid their soft skills. So I understand that 9 to 5 you have to be at job, but it is equally important for you to develop yourself from 5 to 9. And that's where if leaders take accountability for that, and they push them to finish their work on time, and push them out of the office at 5:15, much more can be done in the scope of say soft skills or people management skills.
Love that point.
I feel already there are winds of change because the definition of performance has undergone a complete change. Now performance, when we discuss about competencies, it's not just limited to skills and knowledge. It's all about the soft skills also, which have been incorporated into the performance management system of the progressive organizations. So that is why there's something called, when we are doing a dissection of the performance parameters, we also take into account how leaders are developing their teams, whether they are showing empathy, whether they are showing compassion. All these associated things are very much integrated into the performance metrics. So these are winds of change. I hope more organizations would follow suit.
Yeah, excellent point. Definitely. Yeah, Soumya.
Yeah, to add to that point, with all the systems that are going to start talking to each other, your HCMs and CRMs, and if you're a bigger enterprise, those platforms become more and more, a network is formed. There's a lot of data coming in. Let us also not forget, and we are all, I don't know at what levels of your careers we are all at in this group, but just as a generalized shout out, I think do not, and I kind of highlighted, do not let go your social capital, because the social learning aspect is now, it has a signal. It is now LinkedIn Learning. It is now Udemy. It is now Upwork, whatever it is. And those things are getting connected as we speak to our corporate systems. And so, and again, remember, जैसे 20 years ago, एक model था in organization development, swim lanes. Do you know what swim lanes are? So manager has his or her own swim lane. The same skill, which could be just say feedback giving, changes, and it actually evolves as you are changing your role from a frontline worker to a manager, and to say a director or whatever you want to call a C-suite and so on. 3 lanes, and let's make it, so they used to call it as a swim lane. So worker की जो swim lane है उसमें communication आपकी अलग skills नजर आएंगी. In the managers, those skills look different. In the director role and higher above, those are more delegation and more complex. You're not going to nitty gritty, and you're more general on a very high level bird's eye view. Similarly, our social impact bringing back that to the organization in 2021, most enterprises are now cross-functional. So that swim lane is actually becoming a little bit more, those lanes are getting a little bit more open. So, and all the information flows all over the place through, through technology and digitization. So the big highlight is do not feel that, oh my God, why do I have to be on LinkedIn? मेरे पास तो job है. नहीं, you kind of have to be on LinkedIn. You have to have that whatever you want to call it, thought leadership, or have an impact, a footprint of what you're doing for good and also for not good things. So this is probably a good time to go back and start deleting things where you think you were being a little bit like mindless. And because all those things are coming and they come in as a package. And in another 5 years, all the ATS will show that, oh, okay, this person wants to be a manager. So it doesn't really have the culture that we are looking for in our organization. So let's be also cognizant of soft skills, but also how technology is going to play that to the organization's advantage, and sadly still not to the human being's advantage, because we are all corporate systems, we are all profit-making ventures. So with that, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate a lot of people have to say a lot of things.
Sakshi, just one last point, if I may.
1 second, I'm gonna let you say your point. Just
manage. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
People have to say a lot of points. So yeah, please go ahead, but careful that how much time is left. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sakshi. So I would like to just say that be the change. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change you want to see. So for this, I would say just stand up for just be courageous and create an impact. So just one share, I just read somewhere. So the author is Adib, and he wrote, जहां पहुंच के कदम डगमगाएंगे सबके, उसी मकाम से अपना रास्ता शुरू होगा. So the point I'm trying to highlight here is, if you want to change something, just start it with you, because you never know what one person can do. This is in context of building the soft skills and in the context of corporate culture. Yeah, that's it.
Good point. Thank you. Samiksha?
Yes, so since we started talking about what we can do to help our fellow professionals and maybe leaders to imbibe those skills, so of course, generating awareness, people are still undermining the importance of soft skills. So I think we have to continuously shout out the importance of the same. And also because, yes, Soumya rightly said, there are so many Udemy courses and Coursera, there are so many available resources for our help. But I think at this time, we are also at a we are at a stage where there are also abundance of resources. I think what will also help is if we can help out people to know, like, refine courses, something valuable. So if a person wants to start somewhere, right, for their whatever skills, creativity or problem solving, critical thinking, leadership, so they will have some some stage to begin with. They will have some ready-made resources to begin with. So maybe if we can also just refine the available resources, or maybe as per our knowledge, recommend them some things to them. So I think that will also be helpful, because right now there are so many things out there and it can get confusing for a person.
Yeah. Good job. Anybody else?
Yeah, maybe I can add last, closing it by saying, so what we can contribute is, I will take it back to the company values what I'm building. So I say is build your core, where C stands for courage, and then there is core, and then there is culture, and then there is creativity. And if we infuse this in the organization and everyone feels this value that they are driven with, then I think I can get the change and change what I'm trying to get in this world, in my organization. Start there. That's there.
Yeah, good Shout. Cool. I don't. There's still hands up, so it's a little confusing. So if you have something to say, now is the time. No. Okay. Good stuff. Well, good discussion. Makes sense. We have talked about we need the super skill not just for some professions, but for all of them. Going on to what those skills are, really excellent ones, not just the ones that we hear, but different ones like self-management and self-regulation as well. Then thinking about why is it that people don't have it yet. So lack of courage, organizational structure, or obligations, all of that, lack of awareness. And then moving on to what is our accountability and how do we change that. And I think just adding the last point from my side, and this is more of food for thought, go home and think about it. um, I know an engineer really closely, and I've seen their journey from just thinking about a good design, a mechanically sound design, to then having personal issues in family, personal life experiences, developing those soft skills, and how it translates to work is what's a sustainable design? Will people like it? Will people enjoy it? How will it change the world? What is the impact? So it's always about the questions you ask yourself and how deeply things impact you. Just the last sort of food for thought, or whatever you want to take it as. Completely ignore it if you have to, but maybe help people realize how things are changing in their own personal lives, and that will just help them ask the right questions. Good stuff. See you all next time. There is no cheers because there's a lot of grim around, but cheers to a good conversation, to still thinking ahead. And yeah, see you all next time. Perfect.
Yeah. Bye bye, guys. Have a great and a safe week ahead.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Bye.